Good morning. We are the group number 3. This group is conformed by Mauricio Condor, Kimberly Mancero, Giselle Sanchez, and me, Mauricio Ruano. We are going to talk about strategies for competing in international markets. Why companies decide to enter foreign markets? There are 5 major reasons why companies decide to enter a foreign market. To gain access to new customers, a company seeks to expand into foreign markets because of the benefits it offers, such as increased profits and revenues and long-term growth. It becomes an especially attractive option when a company encounters driving growth opportunities in its home market. This can be particularly important in R&D intensive industries, where development is fast-paced of competitors imitate innovation rapidly. To achieve lower cost through economies of scale, experience, and increased purchasing power. Lots of companies are driving to sell in more than one country because domestic sales volume alone is not large enough to capture fully economies of scale in product development, manufacturing, or marketing. To gain access to low-cost inputs of production, companies in industries based on natural resources like oil, gas, minerals, rubber, or lumber often find it necessary to operate in the international arena, since raw material suppliers are located in different parts of the world and can be accessed more cost effectively at the source. Other companies enter foreign markets to access low-cost human resources. This is particularly true of industries in which labor costs make up a high proportion of total production costs, such as textile industries. To further exploit its core competences, companies are able to extend a market-leading position in its domestic market into a position of regional or global market leadership by leveraging its core competences further. To gain access to resources and capabilities located in foreign markets. An increasingly important motive for entering foreign markets is to acquire resources and capabilities that may be unavailable in a company's home market. Companies often make acquisitions abroad or enter into cross-border alliances to gain access to capabilities that complement their own or to learn from their partners. Besides, companies that are the suppliers of other companies often expand internationally when their major customers do so, to meet their customers' needs abroad and retain their position as a key supply chain partner. Why competing across national borders makes strategy making more complex? Crafting a strategy to compete in one or more countries of the world is inherently more complex for 5 reasons. 1. Different countries have different home country advantages in different industries. 2. There are location-based advantages to conducting particular value chain activities in different parts of the world. 3. Different political and economic conditions make the general business climate more favorable in some countries than in others. 4. Companies face risks due to adverse shifts in currency exchange rates when operating in foreign markets. And 5. Differences in buyer tastes and preference present a challenge for companies concerning customizing versus standardizing their products and services. Home country industry advantages and the diamond model. To understand the home country advantage, we have to analyze these 4 items. Demand conditions. The demand conditions in an industry's home market include the relative size of the market, its growth potential, and the nature of domestic buyers' needs and wants. Differing population size, income levels, and the other demographic factors give rise to considerable differences in market size and growth rates from country to country. Factor conditions. Factor conditions describe the availability, quality, and cost of raw materials and other inputs, called factors of production, that firms in an industry require to producing their products and services. The relevant factors of production vary from industry to industry but can include different types of labor, technical of managerial knowledge, land, financial capital, and natural resources. Firm strategy, structure, and rivalry. Different country environments foster the development of different styles of management, organization, and strategy. For achieving an important competing international basis, companies must apply the Diamond Framework. It can help predict where foreign entrants into an industry are most likely to come from. Also, it can reveal the countries in which foreign rivals are likely to be weakest and thus can help managers decide which foreign market to enter first. It focuses on the attributes of a country business environment that allows firms to flourish. It reveals something about the advantage of conducting particular business activities in a country. Related and supporting industries. Robust industries often develop in locales where there is a cluster of related industries, including others within the same value chain system, such as suppliers of components and equipment or distributors, and the markers of complementary products or those that are technological related. Here we have a map where the main ideas of each item. Opportunities for location-based advantage. Increasingly, companies are locating different value chain activities in different parts of the world to exploit location-based advantages that vary from country to country. This is particularly evident with respect to the location of manufacturing activities, due to the difference in wage rates, worker productivity, energy costs, and the like create sizable variations in manufacturing costs from country to country. The impact of government policies and economic conditions in host countries. Cross-country variations in government policies and economic conditions affect both the opportunities available to foreign entrants and the risks of operating within the host country. Political risks stem from instability or weakness in national governments and hostility to foreign business. Economic risks stem from stability of a country's monetary system, economic and regulatory policies, and the lack of property rights protections. The risks of adverse exchange rate shifts. Sizable shifts in exchange rates pose significant risks for two reasons. They are hard to predict because of the variety of factors involved and the uncertainty surrounding when and by how much this factor will change. And they are shuffle the cards of which countries represent the low-cost manufacturing locations and which rivals have the upper hand in the marketplace.
Now we are going to see the cross-country differences. The first condition is demographic. For example, the ice cream in Japan with seafood-based flavors versus the fruit-based flavors in America. The second one is cultural. For example, in South Korea, computers are considered a distraction and addiction for children, so parents don't buy this item. The last one is market. Here the companies must decide among customized or standardized their products or services. All of these conditions create a fight among offerings country by country versus lower cost strategies. The next topic is the strategic options for entering international markets, where first companies must consider some important factors like the firm's strategic objectives, the resources and capabilities needed to operate abroad, the trade barriers, the transaction, contracting and monitoring costs, and finally the level of investment and its risks. The first strategy is based on maintaining a home country production base and export goods to foreign markets. It is considered a conservative strategy because the amount of capital needed is minimal and existing production capacity may be enough to make goods for export. Also, it limits the manufacturer involvement, helping to minimize direct investment in foreign countries because the company contracts foreign wholesalers experienced in importing to lead the entire distribution and marketing function. Sometimes, companies can gain scale economies and learning curve benefits, but it is possible only in the industries where the output capability exceeds demand. However, an export strategy is vulnerable when manufacturing costs in the home country are higher than in a foreign one, when the cost of shipping the product to foreign markets are high, when adverse shifts occur in currency exchange rates, and finally, when importing countries impose tariffs or other trade barriers. The second strategy is based on giving license foreign firms to produce and distribute the company's products abroad. This is favorable when a firm with valuable technological know-how has neither the internal organizational capability nor the resources to enter foreign markets. Licensing also has the advantage of avoiding the risk of committing resources to country markets that are unfamiliar or unstable. Also, this strategy helps the company to generate incomes from royalties. However, the disadvantage of licensing are the risk of providing valuable technological know-how to foreign companies and thereby losing some degree of control over its use. In addition, some firms find difficult to monitor licenses and safeguarding the company's proprietary know-how. The next strategy is franchising based on employ one of them in foreign markets. It is better suited to the international expansion efforts of service and retailing enterprises because it helps to build a presence in that kind of markets. Also, the franchisee bears most of the cost and risk of establishing foreign location, while the franchisor has to expend only the resources to recruit, train, support, and monitoring franchisees. The problem a franchisor faces is maintaining quality control. Foreign franchisees don't always exhibit a strong commitment to consistency and standardization, especially when the local culture doesn't stress the same kinds of quality concerns. The main question in this strategy is whether to allow foreign franchisees to make modifications in the franchisor's product, offering to better satisfy the taste and expectation of local buyers. The next strategy is based on companies that prefer to establish a subsidiary either by acquiring a foreign company or by establishing operations from the ground up via internal development. This is the case of Greenfield Ventures. Acquisition may be the least risky and most cost-efficient because overcome entry barriers like access to local distribution channels, building supplier and establishing working relationships with governments. The firm must consider whether to pay a premium price for a successful local company or buy a struggling one at a bargain price. It depends on the experience and the capital of the company. In another way, Greenfield Venture makes sense when a company already operates in several countries, has experience in establishing new subsidiaries, and has a large pool of resources and capabilities to compete rapidly and successfully. In addition, setting up from the ground up is favorable when it is cheaper than acquired, where there is no adverse impact in the supply demand, where there is a good distribution access, and when can compete head-to-head with rivals. The cons are that it means a high capital investment and risk, have a high dependence of rights and legal protections, and the most important is that it is the lowest entry route to international markets. Finally, alliance with joint ventures strategies have lots of benefits like improving foreign relationships, capture economies of scale in production and or marketing, let's share distribution, facilities, and dealer networks, increase the learning and added expertise, help to direct their competitive energies to mutual rivals, gain agreements on important technical standards, preserve independence, and avoid the use of financial resources to fund acquisitions. However, it also has some disadvantage, like the partner's knowledge and expertise turns less valuable than expected, some language and cultural barriers. The cost of working ensemble according to the arrangement can be high, conflicting objectives and strategies, differences of opinion, loss of its competitive advantage if an alliance partner is given full access to its proprietary technological expertise or other valuable capabilities, and becoming overly dependent on foreign partners for essential expertise and competitive capabilities.
There are three approaches for competing internationally: multi-domestic strategy, global strategy, transnational strategy. First, multi-domestic strategy is one in which a company varies its product offering and competitive approach from country to country to satisfy different buyer preferences and adapt the product to market conditions. This strategy represents a think local, act local approach because there are many cross-country differences in demography, culture, geography, tradition, religion, economies, administration, and market requirements. A think local, act local approach is most appropriate when the need for local responsiveness is high. due to significant cross-country difference and when the standardization is limited. This means that the standardization is low. The multi-domestic strategy is only possible when decision-making is decentralized. This means that managers have the authority for crafting and executing strategies for the country markets they are responsible for. Then the best example to understand this strategy is McDonald's. McDonald's in Madrid offers various kinds of sweets, including macarons. McDonald's restaurants in Israel are typically kosher. In India, McDonald's offers a vegetarian burger. Fish, potatoes, and citrus drinks are sold in Japan. So McDonald's changed the type of meat, bread, toppings, sauces, potatoes, drinks, and desserts according to the tastes and culture of each country. Global strategy is one in which a company employs the same basic competitive approach in all countries where it operates, sells standardized products globally, and coordinates its actions worldwide with strong headquarters control. Companies employing a global strategy sell the same products with the same features under the same brand names everywhere, using the same distribution channels in all countries. A global approach prompts company managers to integrate and coordinate the company's strategic moves worldwide and to expand into most nations. If that's not possible, expand where there is significant buyer demand. In a global strategy, the need for local responsiveness is low, while the benefits from global integration and standardization is high. The fundamental competitive approach for those firms that adopt this strategy is low cost due to high volumes production and economies of scale. An example of this strategy is Ford. Ford Fiesta was company's first global design models to be marketed in Europe, North America, Asia, and Australia. Whenever country-to-country differences are small enough, with limited country-specific modifications. In this case, Ford sold the same car with the same characteristics to all those countries. Transnational strategy incorporates elements of both multi-domestical and global strategies, a mix between standardization and personification. This type of middle ground strategy is applied when there are relatively high levels of local responsiveness, as well as appreciable benefits to be realized from standardization. It's a strategy that covers the middle. Companies implement a transnational strategy with mass customization techniques that enable them to address local preferences in an efficient, semi-standardized manner. A good example of this strategy is Starbucks. This firm has discovered ways to customize its menu's offerings in various countries without compromising cost, product quality, and operating effectiveness. International operations and the quest for competitive advantage. There are three important ways in which a firm can gain competitive advantage. First, use location to lower cost or achieve greater product differentiation. 2, sharing or transferring valuable resources and capabilities across borders. 3, benefit from cross-border coordination. The first way, using location to concentrate activities in a few locations. When the cost of manufacturing or other activities are significantly lower in some geographic locations than in others. 2. When significant scale economies exist in production or distribution. 3. When sizable learning and experience benefits are associated with performing an activity. 4. When certain locations have superior resources that allow better coordination of related activities or offer other valuable advantages. Using location to disperse activities across many locations. Buyer-related activities such as distribution, marketing, and after-sales service take place close to buyers. Dispersing activities helps against the risk of fluctuating exchange rates, supply interruptions due to strikes, natural disasters, or transportation delays, and adverse political developments. Here, many companies distribute their products from multiple locations to shorten delivery times to customers. Sharing or transferring resources and capabilities across borders. The powerful brand names represents valuable competitive asset that can be shared by all of the company's international stores to attract buyers and gain a higher degree of market penetration over a wider geographic area. The second way is to transfer technological know-how or other important resources and capabilities from its operations in one country to its operations in other countries.
Benefiting from cross-border coordination. Companies that compete on an international basis have another source of competitive advantage relative to their purely domestic rivals. They are able to benefit from coordinating activities across different countries' domains. For example, an international manufacturer can shift production from a plant in one country to a plant in another to take advantage of exchange rate fluctuations, to cope with component shortages, to improve its influence with host country governments, etc. Also, production schedules can be coordinated worldwide. Shipments can be diverted from one distribution center to another if sales rise unexpectedly in one place and fall in another. Cross-border strategic moves. First, we will define what are profit centers. Our country markets are geographic regions in which a company derives substantial profits because of a strong or protected market position. Now, we will dip into subtopics. First, using profit centers to wage a strategy offensive. Profit centers are valuable competitive assets providing the financial strength to support strategies of offensive in selected country markets and fuel a company's race for world market leadership. Razor-thin margins or even losses in these markets can be subsidized with a healthy profits earned in its profit centers. A practice called cross-market subsidization, that is the diversion of resources and profits from one market to support competitive offensive in another different market. Dumping as a strategy. Dumping consists of selling goods in foreign markets at prices that are either below normal home market prices or below the full cost per unit. A company engaged in dumpings to reduce high fixed costs or idle production capacity, and in the same way by using prices below cost, gaining market share, and driving weak companies out of the market. Second, using profit centers to defend against international rivals. Cross-border tactics involving profit centers can also be used as a means of defending against the strategy moves of rivals with multiple profit sanctuaries of their own. Mutual restraint of this sort tends to stabilize the competitive position of multi-market rivals against one another. Strategies for competing in the markets of developing countries. Companies vying for global leadership should consider competing in developing economics markets, countries where the commercial risks are considerable but where the opportunities for growth are enormous, especially as their economies develop and living standards rise towards the levels of the industrialized world. In today's world, a company that aspires to leadership in the international market cannot ignore the market opportunities or the technical and managerial talent base such countries offer. For example, in 2013, China was the second largest economy in the world behind the United States, based on purchasing power and its population of 1.3 billion people. Strategy options for comparing in developing country markets. Prepare to compare on the basis of low price. For example, to enter the laundry detergent market in India, Unilever have to develop a low-cost detergent called Wheel, build new low-cost production facilities. Prepare to modify the firm's business model or strategy to accommodate local circumstances. When the Suzuki of Japan entered India, it sparked a quality revolution among India auto parts manufacturers. Avoid developing markets where it is too costly to accommodate local circumstances. For example, when Dell entered China, it found that people and companies were not used to ordering over the internet. Try to change the local market to better match the way the firm does business elsewhere. Depending against global giants, a strategy for local companies in developing countries. Develop a business model that exploits shortcomings in local distribution networks or infrastructure. Utilize knowledge of local customer needs and preference to create customized products or services. Take advantage of aspects of the local workplace with which large multinational firms may be unfamiliar. Use local education and rapid growth strategies to defend against expansion-minded internationals and transfer the firm's enterprise to cross-border markets. Thanks for watching this video. Please share and like it.